Hello everybody and welcome back to another surprisingly educational video. I've had to re-record this. I recorded a 10-minute version of this and it turns out I ran out of storage. So basically what I'm doing is today I'm going to be talking about the deadliest animal that ever swam in our oceans. If the trucks will stop driving past, please. Thank you. Now I got a comment on a video very recently about someone wanting to know or wanted to see a video that I would make of this animal. Now, I know a lot of you are going to expect me to say Megalodon. I'm not going to say Megalodon because Megalodon, it was powerful. It was actually insanely powerful. It had the strongest bite force of any animal to ever live on the earth. It was very, very large predator, of course it was. But when you have an animal that is extremely large, you know, size comes with a very big price. When you're that big as a predator, a whole variety of your food chain is excluded from your diet because you can't just hunt animals that are much smaller than yourself. It's not worth the energy, and in the end you actually end up losing energy per the cost of protein and energies you would get back from killing the animal. So you have to go for a very specific variety of animals in the diet, and you know, these massive sort of megafauna-like predators, or prey I should say, not predators. And in the end I just don't think it's a very successful thing. I think that predators that are medium-sized and just sort of moderately built, they're fast enough, they're strong enough, they're capable enough of taking out large prey. I think they're the most successful. I think animals that work together as teams in the modern day, you know, you look at African wild dogs and hyenas and lions, they're extremely successful predators because they can work together and they're capable of that. But forgetting about the whole pack hunting thing, today I'm going to be talking about an animal that is a mosasaur. It's not Mosasaurus, it's not Tylosaurus, it's not Taniwasaurus or Pleurodons or Goroniosaurus, any of those mosasaurs. It's not them. I'm going to be talking about a mosasaur that was a deep sea predator. It had eyes larger than any mosasaur in comparison to the skull. It had a tail thick enough to propel it through the water, yet very small fins that were likely not needed, probably left over, similar to the abylisaurids and their small arms. This animal had very thick, short, stubby teeth and a very powerful bite force. I am today talking about Prognathodon. Now, Prognathodon to me is probably one of my favorite mosasaurs, yet there's actually very little known about it. Prognathodon was 33 feet long and it lived in the Maastrichtian stage of the Cretaceous period, which is the very end of the Cretaceous. And it lived all over the world, from Belgium, South Dakota, Colorado, and New Zealand. It was found pretty much everywhere, which indicates to me that it was probably a migrative animal, or at least it had different species living in very different locations. There are actually a lot of species of this animal. There are 6 species of Prognathodon. However, I think some of them might have been excluded by this point of me making this video. So you've got P. solvayi, P. rapax, P. giganteus, P. overtoni, P. stedmani, and P. viperensis. Prognathodon is, in my opinion, the perfect mosasaur, and it's possibly the perfect predator for aquatic life. It was very fast. It was quite large, 33 feet for an animal. That's actually tremendous. It had a very powerful bite force compared to other mosasaurs. You've got the more river-dwelling ones like Taniwasaurus and Pleurodons. They got these thin, sort of long skulls. But no, Prognathodon had a short, stubby skull with a very powerful jaw. Its jaw muscles were probably very large. It had teeth that were very thick and short and stubby, and they were sparsely located around the jaw, indicating that it hunted prey very large, in fact, possibly larger than itself. Because when you have animals that have teeth that are very strong and thick, and they're all over the skull, it indicates that they needed a wider grasp. They were hunting something that was big enough that they had to get as much space covered as possible with their bite. When you look at animals like Taniwasaurus, I know I keep mentioning Taniwasaurus, but when you look at Taniwasaurus, it's got these little sort of almost conical teeth. They were very sort of close together in the jaw, and this indicates it hunted fish because it needed to really hold on to them, similar to Spinosaurids. If you've ever seen a Spinosaurid skull, it's got all these conical teeth very, very close together. That's for catching fish. It's very, very useful because you can really pin them down and they can't get anywhere because there's nowhere to go. But when you've got Prognathodon, it couldn't possibly hunt small fish because they would just slip out between the teeth gaps. They would go everywhere. It wouldn't be able to get a good grip on them. So in my opinion, and it's the same with Tyrannosaurids, excluding Alioramus and Guanlong and the smaller ones like that, because they probably hunted small animals. In fact, I think Alioramus was actually a piscivore. But when you look at Prognathodon and the Tyrannosaurids, they've got these really big, thick, stocky teeth, and they're really sort of not distant, but they're pretty far away from each other when you compare them to other animals. Now, this indicates that it probably hunted prey that were much larger than itself. I'm talking about Prognathodon now. I know Tyrannosaurus was a very big predator. And it needed to get a good grip. Now, just looking at the skeleton, I'm looking at an image of the skeleton right now as I talk about this. It indicates to me that Prognathodon was likely a much more capable swimmer than previously thought. I don't think it used its paddles much at all, maybe for steering, but they were quite small when compared to the size of the body, and I really don't think they would have been very useful. I think the tail was the big thing for Prognathodon. You know, if you look at saltwater crocodiles, for example, in the modern day, and monitor lizards that swim in the Pacific Islands, you can see they really use their tail as a mechanism of propulsion. They use it to really push themselves through the water. They can, you know, this really big, thick, stocky tail to help them move through the water very, very smoothly. And I think Prognathodon was very, very similar. Now, I mentioned earlier that it was probably a deep-sea predator, and I say that because Prognathodon has these really large eyes. And it's actually quite abnormal for a mosasaur to have massive eyeballs. But Prognathodon, it actually did. It's got these really big eye sockets when compared to the size of the skull, and it's actually quite interesting. I think Pleioplatycarpus might have had them, or Hinosaurus, but I can't really remember. But Prognathodon, it seems that its eyes were that large because it probably did a lot of deep sea hunting. It's got this. Sorry, I just had to edit that out for a second. I'm a bit sick at the moment, so if I sort of cut to me talking about different things out of nowhere, it's because I've had to stop and cough, and then I've had to go back to the conversation. So I'm sorry about any of that. I've got a really dry throat, and I don't have a drink. I need a cup of tea. I need my cuppa. Okay, so where was I? I don't have a script. I'm just talking off the top of my head, so I don't know where I was. I think I was talking about its deep sea life, wasn't I? So in my opinion, I think Prognathodon would have hunted similarly to great white sharks in the modern day. It would have come up from beneath its prey, not directly beneath them like great white sharks do, but probably more on an angle, a diagonal sort of method of hunting its prey. It would have come up from the side, it would have struck them once with a bite, probably to a fin or even to the neck, and then just maybe left them, or it might have thrashed them around. I think the thrashing is more likely, because when you look at... Really? A big van just drove past and ruined my talking. When you look at the vertebrae in the neck of the Prognathodon, they're very thick and they're actually quite sturdy, which is sort of surprising, especially when you compare it with smaller mosasaurs that were more river-based. Now, this indicates that it had very powerful neck muscles. And when you look at animals like Carnotaurus that had very powerful neck muscles and Allosaurus that had very powerful neck muscles, it indicates a very specific motion of swinging its head around to hit prey. You know, Allosaurus had... Really? There's freaking motorbikes. Allosaurus used its head like an axe. It would swing down and clamp into its prey and just pin it down with those jagged teeth. Carnotaurus, I almost said Allosaurus then, had powerful neck muscles, probably for a very similar method of hunting. But Prognathodon, I think it used them a bit differently. I think it would swing its head from left to right in different directions. So yeah, anyway, I need to get it shorter because I've been talking for ages. This is basically what I think the deadliest animal to ever swim in the seas was, Prognathodon. Now, obviously, I should change it to one of the deadliest because I don't know. Obviously, there's so many animals we haven't even found yet. We don't know. And obviously, I haven't gone over every single predator that swam in the ocean because it would have taken me hours and hours and hours. So, I've sort of just combined speed, power, size, strength, mobility. Similarly to what I did with Utahraptor in the other video. Now, quickly before I go, I just wanted to say, Tarbtano, you've been commenting, you cheeky little shit. All I'm going to say is, yes. Okay? Yes. Yes. Now, moving on. Anyone who doesn't, you probably won't get that. Moving on. Talking about subscribing, that's it. I forgot what I was going to say. Subscribe, okay? Just do it. Like as well, that helps. In fact, screw it, just watch the video, man. Just watch it. Another thing, before I go, I know I said that like 10 seconds ago. Rhymed. I forgot what I was going to say. Okay, bye. I was going to say something really important, I've forgotten it. Oh, Jurassic World Evolution. I pre-record all my Jurassic World Evolution videos. So, uh, that's why they're so sort of off. And I know the DLC is coming out like tomorrow with the Fallen Kingdom stuff. I'm going to be making videos about that as well. Probably before I continue the series. It's going to seem really weird because it's jumping from videos. But I've pre-recorded like 30 episodes of Jurassic World Evolution in one day, so it's a bit difficult for me to upload all of them constantly, and especially when some of them are pretty boring. I know the one I just uploaded like 2 hours ago was really, really boring. I'm sorry about that, but you know, it has to keep. I'm talking, you piece of shit. I have to keep the consistency, you know. Anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.